media is a for-profit undertaking that is as I took a
There you
break
go.
many years ago. I stopped reading the news for a while because I realized, look, we were talking about how people are influenced. The news uses all the tactics in the world to make you want to read it so they can sell your attention to an
Yeah.
advertiser. And so they're
Attention.
using
It's the
it's a product
product.
that you're buying. And
Yep.
so
Yes.
I think cultivating where and how you take in information is one of the most important things in the quotes information age or whatever you want to call it, where like we're all
Well, and let me ask you this too. Now you got me my mind going. Uh, do you think it's ironic? And I was going to make a post about this, and I said, you know what? Let me just not. Instagram's already slapping me. Let me just leave it alone. Don't you think it's ironic that as soon as COVID starts to die down a little bit, now this comes as, oh, the new thing to focus on. Attention, attention, attention. It's like we couldn't even get a break. Omicron just kind of stopped being a big deal.
super bummer.
Fuck you. Yes, I mean, but it's just too perfect. They always need something. So it makes me want to not care about it.
I can see why. I mean, you get
I care,
like news fatigue. I think
frustrating.
one thing I do think about a lot of the belief that look, one thing I always remind myself when we went to apply for the PPP loans, the website crashed. And when I go to the DMV, I have to wait for hours. The idea that there could be a global coordinated conspiracy, I'm not anything's possible, but I live in probabilities. I just think like, look, if you tell two people something, chances are one of them's gonna, if you don't know them, test and you tell them don't say anything. So I just think it's much harder to kind of coordinate.
I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's just the tendency of the media to always focus on the next disaster.
Well, everything
but it's accelerating.
Man. Or it's sell.
Yeah, it's so much, and it's like, you got to ask that question: when is enough enough, and are they contributing to the betterment of our society? Not that we don't need to know the news about Russia; that's important, but it's just like whenever I come, I lived in Florida for most of my life. I mean, you lived in the Caribbean. When there's a hurricane coming, they don't shut up about the hurricane. They will keep it on the news channel the whole day, and you're like, I get it, it's coming, and it starts to become fatiguing.
Absolutely, I didn't live in the Caribbean,
and now we're constantly on hurricane watch.
My parents are from there. Exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
okay, yeah,
I think what you're saying is they're selling sensationalism, and we all know that. And unfortunately, look, you know what I've noticed going back to what we talked about earlier is most people aren't willing to do the work to learn. It takes a lot of time to dig into things and truly understand them. And most people I've found don't want to do the drudging sort of investigation that is required to have a point of view. When I do, I have a million faults, but whenever I get into something, I get like crazy into it because my idea is like, look, how do you know? How do you know if you're going to get a tattoo and you look at 3 tattoos and pick one? I mean, as opposed to you get a tattoo and you've looked at 10 or 20,000 or 30,000, or you just have such a different perspective. And I think a lot of the time now, people don't take the time, like you said, to have even enough knowledge to have a view. Yet they hold quite strong views based on almost nothing and often on stuff that's total bullshit. So
you said strong views loosely held.
I believe it's slightly different. I believe in strong views loosely held if you've done the work. And so you're like, hey, as of now, I think everything's just like a good way to think about it rather than right or wrong is like, what's the probability? And I like to be high probability stuff. When I do an investment, I always say not just a high expected value. I want a high probability of a good outcome, low probability of a bad one. And if I get the bad outcome, it's little downside. And if I get the good outcome, it's lots of upside. And so, but I think all of life is just sort of probabilities, like, and once you view it that way, like getting informed so you can have a strong view. Like right now, I have a strong view on Ethereum. and the outlook for Ethereum and the high probability of a good outcome. But if I get data tomorrow that suggests that's not the case, then I'll change my mind. And I think we have a society now that somehow values not, people like saying something and never changing their mind. Whereas to me, that's pure idiocy. If you do something, if you learn something new that contradicts your position, you should change your position, or start looking more into it until it's compelling enough that you change your position. That's not weakness, that's strength.